Hi everybody, I'm Ian Sepperman, CEO of Mobile Dev HQ. I'm here with Ryan Morell of PlacePlay and Roby Ganguly of AppTentive. Welcome guys. This is another installment of App Developer Conversations. There's been a couple announcements about sort of the size of the app ecosystem recently that I think is really interesting to discuss. The first was Apple announcing yesterday, 2 days ago, something like that. That they've now paid out $7 billion to app developers. And I would think that this is basically only purchased apps, paid apps, or in-app purchases. Probably doesn't include iAd, and if it does, that's a small number. What's interesting is if we look back at the amounts that they have previously sort of told us about, the first one was in July of 2011. It was $2.5 billion. In March of 2012, it was $4 billion, and then I think it was October. It was $6 billion. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And then just now $7 billion. The curve is up and to the right very, very quickly. Initial reactions to just sort of that number.
Yeah, I mean, it's mind-bogglingly large, and I think the hard part about these numbers is especially when you talk about them so often, it's hard to realize how big they really are. It's like billion. It's like, oh, everyone always talks about billions. It must not be that big, but it's huge. And I think the most amazing piece is it's been another billion in 10 weeks.
Yeah, which you did the math. What's the run rate?
Yeah, so if they stayed flat, it's a $6 to $7 billion a year business, but they're not flat. They're up.
Right.
So maybe it's 8, 10.
Right. So 2013, if we were to do some back of the envelope calculations, 2013 is, let's call it $9 billion in Apple paid purchases. Where do you think, what percent of paid purchases would you put advertising at for developers? Right, higher or lower than all paid?
Ooh, much lower.
Much lower.
Yeah. I'd be shocked if it was $1 billion.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
So then that's 10. Google Play approximately the same, you guys think?
I would say Google Play, if it's half of what the Apple ecosystem is right now, is probably pretty good. And their skew might be towards the advertising side, perhaps.
Okay. So we're at 15, 16 billion right there. And then Amazon is probably going to add another couple, I would hope. So you're certainly approaching $20 billion this year in paid to developers, right?
Yeah,
it's an impressive number.
It's massive, right? Because I keep coming back to the run rate, right? So if you think about it, what Apple basically said is, from beginning of life of their ecosystem, 2008, to now, they've done $7 billion in payouts to developers. They're likely to do all of that just this year, if not more.
That's right.
Wow, that's acceleration.
Yeah. And what does that mean for 2014?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and this kind of stuff is like gravity, right? Because more and more people are now really getting serious about it. More and more people are saying, man, this is a really large business. And once you're talking about businesses in the $10, $20 billion range, it's natural that globally almost everybody who does digital media starts spending time and starts investing in it.
Yeah.
Do you think that advertising on your end, is advertising going up at the same rate?
No.
Do you think that it will grow faster or slower?
I think eventually it will grow faster. I think part of our continuing thesis is that everyone's so concerned about dealing with scale that it's hard to deal with improvement. Because the numbers, we talked about it in the last segment, right? 50 million devices, let's say, in the last week of December. It's like, okay, is that another 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 billion additional impressions in a week? That's tech-wise, that's hard to deal with. Mm-hmm. And so people can't even, everyone's over their ski tips trying to figure this stuff out and not kind of sit back and go, we need to make improvements. Because clearly banner ads suck. We do banner ads, they suck. So we need to figure out that.
We in our system saw just spikes. Our system was basically getting pounded the week after Christmas. It was incredible. As the devices were coming online and our developers were just getting crushed with new downloads and new activity. It was clear a lot of people are spending a lot of time on devices that week
Yeah.
after Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That scale problem is a big one for a lot of players in the space.
Yeah. Well, and especially because I was just thinking in my head, like 2 years ago, it was kind of, I think people were still had their toes on the sideline. Like, is this a toy or is this a business?
Yeah.
Right? And okay, well, we think it's a toy, so we're going to treat it like a toy with people and tech. And now it's like, oh my God, this requires massive AWS infrastructure that costs me $30,000. Like, I got to deal with all this stuff.
Right.
So I mean, I think you're right, and especially for people like you, you're going to see a lot more big business going. We got to pay really close attention to this.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
The other number that we saw was a Microsoft number, which was, if I remember correctly, it's 100 million downloads to Windows 8 devices, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the last 2 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a good or bad number for Microsoft?
I think it's good. I mean, so what do we hear from them most recently? They said something on the order of 60 plus million
Yeah.
installs, or I
Yeah.
guess that what they're saying is
Cumulative devices, whether that's upgrades or new
Yeah.
devices, right?
Right. So 60 million. So you put that into context, it's actually less than 2 app downloads per device, but at the same time, 100 million app downloads for a brand new store. It's 2 months old, and we don't believe that 60 million is really the active in-market number. We believe that's what's been pushed through the channel. I think what you're seeing is that there's actually really good demand on the desktop for downloading apps.
You
Yeah.
agree?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a shock.
Yep.
I mean, we all use Macs. I use the Mac App Store. I don't use it a ton.
Right.
I mean, I wonder how much just the natural order of things, and people go to the web to download stuff on PC, and on mobile you didn't.
Right.
You never had the option. Right? It started with the App Store. Microsoft clearly has put their App Store front and center, so that probably helps. I still don't think it matters.
Yeah.
If you're a desktop developer, great. If you're a mobile app developer, probably not.
All right. Well, if you're an app developer, go make some apps. Charge for them. There's money out there. Like this video, comment on it, and we'll see you in the other installment.
Yeah, it feels like a really short-term opportunity.
Yeah.
Where there's not everybody's doing it yet, and not everyone's in the way.
Yeah.
So it sounds like if you're going to go do it now.
All right.
And then we talked a little bit about this in your segment, I think.